Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the North Lincolnshire series, a district of 56 parishes in the north of Lincolnshire. Let's see which one we're visiting today. Welcome back to a wet and windy North Lincolnshire, everybody. Now here's a channel first. Today we're beginning outside a zoo. We've never seen one of these before on the channel, have we? Well, this one is just to the south of Scunthorpe in a very large village which goes by the name of Messingham. This North Lincolnshire episode is sponsored by Past Days, a family history blog by June Terrington. You'll find her link in the description. And this video is also sponsored by Jamie's Fitness Studio, based on Low Road, Graham, near Curtin in Lindsay. Jamie is one busy lady. Check her out by calling 07906 749 574 or emailing hello@jamies.co.uk. Online membership is available. There's a link to her Facebook page in the description. Jamie's Fitness Studio. Get fit, get happy, get healthy. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Messingham is one of the southernmost extremities of North Lincolnshire, sited as it is on the A159, 4 miles south of the centre of Scunthorpe and 1 mile south of the M180. The name Messingham is of Anglo-Saxon origin. It derives from the Maessingus tribe, meaning home of the Maessa and his people. Through much of the Middle Ages, it was called Massingham. It's been spelt various ways through time too. The modern spelling wasn't recorded until 1877, and it was often spelt with a Y as opposed to an I. In 1772, John Wesley was known to preach in Messingham, and we'll discuss where as we walk around. The village has a history of sheep farming, but industrially, Messingham is linked with Scunthorpe Steelworks, which was and still is a major employer of local people. Sand is an important mineral resource in the area too. Some sand quarries have now become exhausted, but have been put to good use. We'll see an example of that at the end. In 2018, the parish of Home, which adjoined Messingham to the east, amalgamated with Messingham, forming one of the largest parish areas in North Lincolnshire. It's a big village with a lot to cover, so without further ado, here's Messingham, folks. We start at Messingham Zoo, which lies to the west of the main village. Messingham Zoo is something different to larger zoos and wildlife parks because it focuses on close-up encounters with smaller, friendlier animals. It has all kinds of animals and some you might not expect, including barn owls, meerkats, raccoons, wallabies and emus. You certainly don't come across one of these in every village, now do you? Admission is £9 for an adult and £7 for a child. Now, I purposely haven't spent too long out there where the zoo is because this is a big route, a very big village, and I've also got to include 2 hamlets, Home and Twigmore, as well at the end of this. So everything else that's out there, there's a golf range and a few other bits and bobs. They will appear in today's picture bit. Right, we are in Messingham itself now, and I'm standing on a street called Woodview, which is off the Meadows, and I am very, very familiar with this street, and I'll tell you for why. I'm also very familiar with that parking space because one of my best friends used to live here. I don't know whether he still does, but oh, apparently, hello Christine. 1 second. You do still live here then?
Yes, I just thought, what's that guy coming up our street?
I used to have a friend called Jack. Does he still live with you, or?
No, he lives in Surrey.
He lives in Surrey. Yeah. Well, he used to live right here, and this is his mother. I was going to have a word with her before we move on. Oh, that was so good to see them again. So let's get on with Messingham. I'll talk a bit more about them later because there are a few things which will remind me of them and remind me of Jack as well, who is the man who I was referring to, a friend of mine. Okay, let's head out onto the Meadows and turn left and head through this sort of newish area first. Messingham is a bit like Scotter in that it's got some new areas and some very old areas as well. The oldest bits tend to be in this sort of centre off the main A159. So it's new first. Let's go. These are some of the latest houses Messingham has gained through the years. It's always been a relatively large community, but following World War II, there was considerable housing development and the village trebled in size. Up to the beginning of the 20th century, agriculture was the main occupation here, but Messingham soon became a hub for workers at Scunthorpe Steelworks as less labour-intensive farming methods started to dwindle away. It's a good thing then that Messingham has plenty of these shops. This row can be found on Wendover Road, and we'll be back to this point later after a walk up the A159, approaching these from the other direction. Across the road from those is Benson Close, which takes us to Messingham Primary School. Messingham's junior and infant schools formerly operated on 2 sites. Now amalgamated, this has an excellent reputation. Okay, so far so good. The rain appears to be slowing down a little bit, so that's an added bonus, I suppose. Right, it's a right turn here, and we'll carry on. There's not much to say about the next area. This is West Green, and again this is more of the same, except here the properties are a little older. As far as I'm aware, there doesn't seem to be any plans to expand the village further, at least not immediately anyway. Here's the B1400 Brig Road, which is a gentle slope downhill towards the A159. Next, I've got a brilliant piece of Lincolnshire logic for you. I happened to see something out of the corner of my eye here, and I couldn't resist capturing it. Check this out. The front door is around the back. Now, I'm no expert, but isn't that then a back door? Unconventional though it may be, I'm sure it makes sense to the postman. Anyway, here's the A159, the High Street, and at number 68 we have a cafe, but with a twist. This is Sit, and it's a dog cafe. It offers a takeaway service too called Fetch, and it has a huge garden for exercising, totaling 1/6 of an acre. Okay, so we're on the A159 now for a short distance until we get up to the petrol station, which you can see in shot there, which is opposite the Horn. That's one of Messingham's pubs. We'll talk about that in a moment, but first we've got a bus stop. And here you can catch the 101 to Gainsborough, the 103 to Lincoln, and the 601 to my old school, Queen Elizabeth High School. A petrol station is something that's always handy to have, and with a village this size, this will surely never be out of business. Of course it doubles as a shop, and next door to this there's a vehicle repair garage, Spencer's. As for the Horn, that's one of the village's 4 pubs. Right in the village centre, this has undergone a recent refurbishment, and it's popular with locals and visitors alike. It has a quiz night on Sundays, and a cocktail evening is hosted on Thursdays. At this point we head along Butterwick Road. East Butterwick, remember, is Messingham's neighbour, and residents of that village rely on Messingham for amenities. If you follow this, you'll hit a crossroads and then you'll pass Messingham Zoo. Next we have Cross Tree Lane, which is so named because at one time Messingham had a sycamore tree which stood on the site of the village cross. It was noted for the fact that John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, preached under it. Now Messingham has quite a lot of shops and a couple more pubs as well. Here's one of them, that's the Green Tree Inn. We're now in the centre of the village. There are many more shops here, including 3 small supermarkets, one of which is this Lincolnshire Co-op, which incorporates the post office, and I know that because I went inside. This stands on the site of Messingham's former Primitive Methodist Chapel, which closed in 1951. On its wall is the parish notice board, and that means a card for Messingham. There's only 6 more to go now, folks, in North Lincolnshire. The rest of the village centre can boast a public library, a wine bar, 2 restaurants, a tea room, a cafe, 4 takeaway outlets, and a number of smaller shops, including a hairdresser's, a beautician, a bakery, and a florist. A bit further up the road, there's a carpet shop too. Back now at Wendover Road, we find the village's surgery, which stands next to the Messingham Community Hub and Library. And as if that's not enough, behind these, there's more. And behind them, you've got Messingham Village Hall and a public car park. Here we are. Let's go into the Village Hall car park and have a look at it. Back to the high street, here's the 3rd village pub, the Crown Inn, which appears to be undergoing some restoration. The 4th and final pub is the Bird in the Barley, and that's towards Scunthorpe. That's in the picture bit. Down the side of the pub is Park Street, and this is the Old School Hall. Messingham's first national school was built in 1854, but by far the most impressive old school building we're yet to encounter. Stick with me, folks. Next, we have the War Memorial. This was unveiled in 1920. It commemorates not only the fallen from both world wars, but also those in the Yugoslav War between 1991 and 1999. In total, it bears 33 names. Across the road is Wilson's Carpets, but this used to be Daceford's, which was a furniture shop. Around the back in the car park, you can still see the sign which says Daceford's Customers Only. Next, it'll be Church Street. Just before I do that, I'm just going to have a nosy in this. Oh, I can't because it's locked. Phone box, it's empty anyway. There's no phone in that, no book exchange, no nothing actually. It's an empty shell, that one. Church Street now. Messingham has 2 places of worship, both within close proximity of each other. Here's the first, the Methodist Chapel, which was originally built as a Wesleyan chapel in 1821. Continuing the religious theme, at the end of Church Street is Park View, and that building behind the hedge is the Chancel Barn, a captivating stone and brick barn conversion, and one of the village's finest properties. Around the corner at the end of Temperance Avenue is the Church of the Holy Trinity, a stone building in the style of the 14th century. It's notable for some stained glass in its east window, some of which was removed from the neighbouring church in Scotton. Other portions were taken from the windows of Manchester Cathedral. Holy Trinity underwent a major restoration in the 18th century, and excepting the tower, it was fully rebuilt in 1821. Its register dates from the year 1560. Yes, it is indeed open. Oh, straight away, look at this font. Wow. Talk about... shut the door, there we go. Talk about fancy. Now, where's the lights? There we are, lights. Hey, there we go. The lights are on. Okay, some of them anyway. Still a bit dark in here. So let's head down the aisle and have a look in the chancel. There's probably some more light switches somewhere, but I just haven't seen them yet. Got an organ on the right. There we go. Nice pulpit. There's a gold lectern as well. Let's head up into the chancel, up the steps. Not much on the walls here. No tablets up there. No tablets on this side either. These walls look like they could do with a lick of paint. A bit like Thurgarton. You remember that one in York and Sherwood? There's the chancel, there's the altar. It looks to me as if this side of the church has been extended at some point, because obviously these look like they were external windows at one point, and it's been built on this side. The lights are fully on now, so we can see a bit better. Here's a tablet. Let's have a look at this. This is to do with the organ. This organ was moved from the south aisle and re-erected in its present position to the glory of God and in affectionate remembrance of Annie Bethel Ewer in 1927. There we go. Just turn around. Some more poppy displays here like we saw in Scotter. What have we got here? Messingham Mothers Union. Some fabulous little displays in here actually. Look at this. I'm sure Nikki would love those. Nikki likes the craft stuff, I should say. Oh, and just like in Scotter, there's a list of rectors, although here they're called vicars. I never know whether there's a difference between a rector and a vicar. Maybe you guys out there who know a bit more about churches than I do can put me straight on that one. Is there a difference? I always thought they were the same thing. But I might be wrong, who knows. And there you go. That is Messingham, Holy Trinity Church. It's very nice, but very old, isn't it? Very old. Right, let's head back out into the rain. If you enjoyed that bit of Lincolnshire logic earlier, well, here's a bit more. Please do not use bench is awaiting repair. Well, if anyone manages to use this bench in the churchyard before such time, I'll personally give them a £5. If you carry on through the churchyard, there's a gate which links you to the playing fields. Messingham has various sports clubs based here, including football teams, a cricket team and a bowls club. And here is the Bowls Club. According to its gates, it was founded in 1920. It stands opposite the Cricket Pavilion. In all, leisure in Messingham is well catered for, and this isn't the only recreational area it has. We'll see why that's the case later. Here though, as well as the playing field, there's also a children's play area and a multi-use games area. The main vehicle access point for all of this is off Northfield Road, but I needed to go back through the churchyard. I'm glad this route is nearly finished. This rain is just not stopping. It's terrible at the moment, and the worst thing about it, actually, it's not the rain, it's actually the wind. As we leave the churchyard, we pass this little bungalow. I suspect this is a church hall of some kind, but I couldn't find anything to back that up. So let's head to the other end of the road, where we find the former Messingham Primary School. This was built in 1906 and it's been at the centre of the community for over 100 years. Since 2017, the building has been repurposed. And how? It now houses a very popular bar, antique centre and cafe. The latter, Cafe 1906 as it's known, paying homage to the date of the building, is open daily from 10 AM until 4 PM. The old school hall can be used for private dining or for function hire, free of charge. It's a popular place. On the other side of Temperance Avenue is the reason why it gets its name. This is a Temperance Hall which was built in 1875 by C.J. Russell at his own expense. It was originally intended for lectures and public meetings. Now from here, if it's a clear day, you can get a really good view of Scunthorpe Steelworks, but of course, seeing as the weather is a little bit on the, shall we say, bad side today, you can't really see them. They are there on the horizon, you might just be able to make them out, but on a clear day you can see them much better. This is probably the best view you get of the steelworks anywhere around Scunthorpe that's not actually in Scunthorpe itself, I would have thought. However, I'm not totally sure about that because I haven't done Bottisford yet, so you never know, there might be a better view in Bottisford. Okay, down home lane and back to the meadows. You guys need today's picture bit. So here I am back on Wood View. Now we are not finished with Messingham just yet, because there are two hamlets, like I said earlier, Home and Twigmore, which I need to cover. And there's also a nature reserve as well. The first thing I'm going to do is put the camera on the dash and drive through Home towards Twigmore. Home's not very big. It's famed for not a lot really. It's got a golf club and not much more than that, apart from a collection of houses. It's also got a paintball field, which is just before you reach Home, before you go over the M180 on the right hand side. If I can find a picture of that, I'll put it in the video right now so you can see it. I've actually been to that paintball field before, and it's really good. It's really good, trust me. It's probably one of the best paintball areas I've ever experienced. So yeah, well worth checking it out. So let's go up to Home, and then we'll drive to Twigmore, talk a bit about Twigmore Woods and Twigmore Hall, and then we'll end at the nature reserve, and hopefully this rain goes away. Just before we hit Home, off Home Lane is an additional 20-acre recreational area which hosts, among other activities, gymkhanas and the annual Messingham Horse and Foal Show. Messingham Junior Football Club play here too. Home Hall Golf Club bills itself as North Lincolnshire's finest EGU championship course. It's a member of the Society of 1908 Golf Clubs, meaning members here can play at other clubs within the society. Home also has the Pink Pig Farm, which you've just seen in today's picture bit. Here's a bit about them. It was opened almost 20 years ago as a small farm shop and 24-seater cafe, which trebled in size in 2005 as demand increased. Since then, a small farm trail with some outdoor play has been added, and a brand new indoor play barn was built in 2014. A toy shop followed in 2016. And that's really it for Home. However, I do have a tale to share. I recall just before midnight some years ago driving through Home and discovering a car upside down in the ditch at the side of the road on the bends just before the B1398. Nobody was in it, but it was a rather eerie find. That's something that will stay with me for a long time. Anyway, anecdotes aside, let's head for Twigmore. Residentially, Twigmore is not much more than just a couple of houses and the Grade 2 listed Twigmore Hall. The hall is notable for John Wright, who lived there before he was executed for his part in the gunpowder plot. Authorities in the past have said the hall was used like a popish college for traitors in the northern parts. The name is also associated with a massive area of woodland, some 130 acres of woodland no less. The woods are owned by the Scorby estate, with public access allowed in certain parts, giving nearly 3 miles of paths open to the public. Our trip through Messingham will now take us down towards Greetwell and onto the B1400 from the other end, passing a few quarries along the way. As well as sand, in the 1800s, gravel was quarried here and was used for local road building. So even though I'm very familiar with Messingham, this is a part of it I don't know. I've never been here before. So Play Avenue and Messingham Quarry, which were in the picture bit, I've come past both of those. Sorry about that. I've come past both of those on the rundown to Messingham Sand Quarry Nature Reserve. Now this is quite a big place. It's a huge expanse of nature reserve. There's absolutely no way I'm walking around all of it, especially not in this weather, but we will go in a little way and I'll show you what's in here to finish off. This is Messingham Sand Quarry Nature Reserve, an enormous tract of land which was exactly what it sounds like, a sand quarry. The remains of the sand quarry have been turned into a series of lagoons. There's a small area of heath too, supporting heather, petty whin and other heathland flora. The reserve provides a home for more than 180 species of bird, 20 species of butterfly, over 250 species of moth and over 100 species of bee and wasp. The reserve lies to the east of the B1400 Messingham to Curtain Road. A track leads from the entrance to a small car park where a waymarked circular route is indicated. You can find the entrance right next to Scallow Grove Farm. Now I did record an outro as usual, but the rain rather muffled the audio on it. So I hope everyone in North Lincolnshire has a fab Christmas and I'll see you next year. I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and this has been the Parish of Messingham, and I'm out.